The conversation around EVs in South Africa is filled with a lot of noise. Noise about the viability of them, noise about the infrastructure, noise about their range. Opinions and misconceptions end up drowning out the facts. So we went on a journey of discovery to leave the noise behind and get the facts firsthand.
So it's not going to be easy, but we're going to get there.
Because we did make the iX screen.
Very excited to be here at the moment. We're at 3:50 a.m. I'm standing in front of 5 electric vehicles that we're about to take on a 2,200 kilometer road trip from Johannesburg through Gqeberha and on our way to Cape Town over a period of about 4 days.
Not very often that I wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning to drive to Cape Town, but this is a very special morning because we're trying to wake South Africa up to fantastic opportunities that EVs can do for our country.
So gents, welcome to the NEV road trip. This has been literally 2 months in the making. We've got 5 beautiful cars that's going to really allow us to take this trip and prove to the public that, NEVs is a thing in South Africa. It's forever hold your peace, otherwise we will go, yep.
We're good.
Okay, we're good. Yep.
And so the EV convoy, consisting of a Volvo XC40, BMW iX, Mercedes EQE, VW ID4 Pro and a BYD Seal, departed Johannesburg and headed towards Ventersburg for the first charging stop.
All right, so we're at our first charging station here. So this is a DC charger, much faster than an AC. You've got a Type 2 and a CCS port. Look at the thickness of the cable because of the number of, or the amount of amps that need to go through this. So this is a fast charge. This is how we plug it in. Okay, now the car's initializing and now I basically need to do a tap with the card onto the RFID port. And you can see the starting up here now. So it would put in 60 kilowatts hours of energy if we sat here for an hour, which basically means that we would get 280 kilometers of range out of an hour's charging.
We need to demystify, we need to get, the misinformation that's out there rectified. Because I think there's too many people who are talking about the use of electric vehicles without properly understanding or even having the experience around it.
At the moment, we've got already 300 million EVs on the road around the world. So that transition is already accelerating.
Here we are, day 1 lunch stop. We're at the amazing Gqeberha Dam. Just had lunch at the Stale Hotel and Restaurant. Now this is what's going to become more and more visible around the country is places like this, resorts like this that are building destination chargers that allow people with EVs to actually charge while they're sitting at a restaurant or while they're staying here overnight. Can't find any release button here. So that is going to be a concern. You need to somehow drop the power to the unit.
Okay.
And then let's try and take it offline and let it release the latch. Because these cards are not unlocking it. Okay. That's it.
Got it.
Solved. Right, we managed to release the cable. This required screwdriver intervention to get deep into the mechanics of that charger to hit an emergency release latch to release this cable. That's not the customer experience you expect at a resort with a destination cable. But it just shows you that's where we still are. This is still a problem. See you on the damn wall.
As the team left Gqeberha Dam and headed towards Colesberg, the charging apps indicated that the charging stations were all online. But on arrival, the reality was very different.
Dilemma seems to be connection between this charging station and the vehicles. Are you restarting the machine? Okay, I saw that. So we're doing a reboot now. So this charge is not going to come back online for some reason. We're going to have to head back to the other side of Colesberg now and join that queue for that charger. We need to get that percentage up, and then from there it's a 2-hour drive still to New Bethesda.
All right, not much to do here for the next hour by the looks of it.
Well, there's a bench and there's Wi-Fi. So now the EQE and the IX are now getting the DC charge, and this yellow cable is now feeding the AC charge to the VW ID Pro as a backup charge while these two are charging. But we are not going to be sleeping in Colesberg tonight. We are going to be at New Bethesda. It's just going to take a little bit longer than expected.
Yeah, no. I'm going to make my submission after this trip, whether I should get an electric car or not. You know? But it's an interesting drive.
It's 9 p.m. and all the EVs have made it to New Bethesda.
We are 3 hours late, 875 kilometers covered, something like that. Exhausted. So
Ready for a cold one.
cold one and some beer and pizza.
Welcome, guys. Welcome. You did it. Yes.
How was it?
It was, yeah.
While day one wasn't without its challenges, the team needed to get going early the next morning to head to Quebec. Little did we know that our biggest charging challenge still lay ahead.
It's day 2. Very nice morning here in New Bethesda. The convoy is ready to go. We're heading down to Renet now, probably about another 50 k's. We should all have enough charge, I hope. But yeah, let's see. It's going to be another exciting day.
As we set off from New Bethesda, it seemed like the crew had forgotten about the crisis in Colesberg. For now, the beautiful scenery, a compatible charging station and warm hospitality was just what we needed.
We are just about a minute away from Noordsveld. I just want to stop in and check on the BYD guys. We won't spend more than a couple of minutes there.
We're at Noordsveld Farms, trying to recharge the car for the first time today. We've been tried before, and we're just making sure we can overcome the issues we had yesterday. But yeah, we seem to have the same issue we had where the car and the charge point don't talk to each other right. So we'll see whether we can get it to charge now.
This charging station here can only supply a maximum of 500 volts. The car's requesting more than that. So it's hitting a pilot fault error or something saying that the charging station is not compatible to provide the higher voltage, apparently, that this car is demanding to get going. We want to see if we can manually say to the car, can you request less voltage than what it's asking for? Doesn't seem we can do that, so it's almost like you've got an incompatibility here between the car and the charging station. While they try and fix the grid car's charger, the advice is get the car on charge anyway, using what's called a trickle charger. So this comes with its own power supply and it plugs into a 3-prong plug in the wall.
Is it using electricity?
It's using electricity, but over
Electricity, there's an electricity.
there in the corner, this is a fully electric car. There's no petrol.
Is it?
It's only electricity. It does normally 450 kilometers on a charge.
Yeah, I was surprised. What is happening now? Hey, and it's a beautiful car, man.
Is it that dangerous with electricity and all that? I'm just concerned about that. I just want to know in case I'm considering it, because that's why I wanted to know if it's really fully charged, how long will I go?
We've left the car standing there, plugged into the shop, 3-prong 220 volts plug. It's charging at basically 1.6 kilowatts per hour. Effectively, it would take 10 hours to get about 80 kilometers of range charged into that car. We said in this objectives of this trip that part of the experience was to spend more time in local places, and I think that's going to happen tonight. More out of necessity than choice, but that's what we set out to try and achieve. We made it. That was about 250 k's. from Graaff-Reinet to Nelson Mandela Bay Stadium.
While plugged into Rubicon's 150 kilowatt charger, the MD of Rubicon, Greg Blanford, stopped by for a quick chat.
Amazing, amazing.
With the advent of EV, it's very disruptive technology for our motor vehicle industry. We need to try and get that problem solved. But currently, the biggest issue is battery packs. So you would have to import the battery packs, and this doesn't make sense. You need to actually manufacture the battery packs or the cells here to make it economically viable.
So what's great about EVs, you've got a low center of gravity with the batteries on the floor. And what's even better, you've got 100% torque at 0 RPM. So very fun around the track.
If the car's sliding and it looks like it's being driven really well,
That's good. That's me.
That's me.
That's
Oh,
me.
it's Nick. I was really blown away by the way these cars performed on the racetrack. None of them being race cars, they're big SUVs, but they handle well. The acceleration, the low centers of gravity, the handling dynamics were all fantastic. So that was a real eye-opener.
What a car. The acceleration on this thing is incredible.
Our third morning saw us leaving Quebec, which is of course still the hub of automotive manufacturing in South Africa. As we head towards the garden route, we were welcomed by giant wind farms scattered across the landscape, like beacons of hope in our quest for cleaner mobility.
What really was amazing to me was how much interest we had along the way. Groups of people coming to speak to us about what were we doing, how does this work? And that, I think, for me is so rewarding because you get to actually share a bit of your passion and a bit of the future with these people.
The EV crew effortlessly made it into Fan Court in George, finding 3 destination chargers that allowed all the cars to charge simultaneously during lunch. With the cars all fully charged, we headed into the Klein Karoo to brace for our biggest challenge yet, the Swartberg Pass.
We're on 67% battery. Range anxiety is starting to kick in for tomorrow.
Initially, I did have a bit of a concern around can we really make this? But as I went through the pass, I became more and more confident.
Sorry to keep you guys waiting, but we stopped along the way to take photos and look at the view.
The sunrise.
Astounding.
Yeah. But they're different.
Driving 5 EVs over the Swartberg Pass in complete silence was the highlight of our journey. Prince Albert was now within sight. Day 4 saw another early start, but only for the Volkswagen and BMW, as they set off in the dark back over the Swartberg Pass towards Oudtshoorn and then on to the N2. The rest of the crew were to leave a little later, taking the N1 to charge at Langsberg and then Swellendam before heading into Cape Town.
Climbing and going down the Swartberg Pass, the technology itself really provided that extra comfort when you were, challenging it. Going through passing the silence and picking up all of that noise, seeing the wildlife that I think we were able to see. There isn't anything that I could really replace it for, because again, at the end of the day, it's really about the journey more than the destination.
It's been fantastic. South Africa has a beautiful landscape. We're in a prime time of transformation of the auto industry. We are celebrating 100 years of automotive industry in South Africa, and what a time to do this trip.
We are literally 13 Ks from Signal Hill. We're coming into Cape Town on the N2, pretty much wrapping up the end of this EV road trip. What an epic journey, 2,200 Ks in 4 days.
Feels like 4 weeks ago.
Feels like 4 weeks ago. Can't even picture what we did on each day at this stage. Everything's just a blur. We absolutely stress tested this infrastructure to get from Joburg to Gqeberha to Cape Town. It's an unprecedented trip. 5 EVs trying to do this trip in convoy. We have learned so much.
Working through all of that, working through the anxiety, the challenges, with camaraderie and collaboration, everybody pulled together to make sure that we can support each other and make this a success.
When you realize where the charging technology is versus where the car technology is, and you see the difference in the two. And it's things like these that you wouldn't have otherwise known had you not gone on such a trip.
There's a heck of a lot of work that still needs to be done, and I think what we've seen on this trip today, particularly that we may be at the starting point of electric vehicles really starting to take off in South Africa.
It's still early days in the adoption of EVs in South Africa, clearly. I mean, it's a global thing. We know that markets are moving this way. So there are teething problems naturally which come with any transition. But I think overall the trajectory is right. I think it's the way we need to be going to decarbonize.
There is a fair amount of skepticism, but can we use the trip for 2 things about how we can prove EVs will work here, and 2, trying to learn most lessons. And I think we have done that. It's not just, it's gone spectacularly what we expected the whole time, but we have some lessons of where we are. But it has shown, I think, while we're here, we've got 5 EV series on Signal Hill in Cape Town. So I think that does prove they will get here.
4 days, early mornings, late nights, certainly a lot of time together, and all seeing a vision of where we need to go. And certainly I think the relationships built here over these past few days is only the start of really taking this agenda forward.
Having that consumer experience of driving an EV over long distances and reaching our destination. 2,200 kilometers, 5 EVs, very enthusiastic participants with one goal, decarbonizing transportation, and also leveraging that to create jobs and economic opportunities for South Africa.
And so our journey comes to a successful end, with all 5 EVs making it safely into Cape Town. Challenges overcome, new friendships formed, and not a drop of fuel used, proving that sustainable mobility is possible today. We truly did escape the noise.